Welcome back to Mean Green Game Day. I'm your host, Wyatt Schott. We're going to talk about some of the things that happened last week. Texas Tech wins in big fashion at Utah. It was a sluggish game, and where I thought the offenses would thrive in that one, the defenses took over. They were the stars of the show. There was a quarterback injury for Texas Tech. It didn't matter. They bounced back. They played great. They won the football game. Josh, what are your initial thoughts from Texas Tech traveling to Utah and winning big?
I thought this was going to be tough at the end of the day. When you think about it, they're going into a hostile environment against a phenomenal Utah offensive line. They've got 2 first-round tackles going in this game. Look, he's getting hyped up. I'm ready to go, man. I'm about to run onto that field right now. Either way, Utah looked like a very good team. Texas Tech, that defense was phenomenal. They have a huge schedule going forward that they could easily be favorites in every single game. This is easily probably a lock for the playoffs for the Raiders.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of to agree with what Josh said. I've been singing Devin Dampier's praises all season long, but going into that Texas Tech game, I really thought that was going to be his first power test since transferring to Utah, and he had a performance similar to the one I thought he would have. 25 of 38 for 162, 2 interceptions. He's taking great care of the ball all season long, but against that better Texas Tech team, just wasn't there. He wasn't efficient on the ground either, only 27 yards on 11 carries. Texas Tech, with that quarterback injury that you mentioned, Will Hammond, the backup, comes in, throws 13 to 16 for 169 and 2 touchdowns. He also carries the ball 8 times for 61 yards in relief of Baron Morton. So there's a great backup quarterback for Texas Tech, too, in case Baron Morton's not able to go today.
Yeah. Matthew, what'd you think?
I mean, people talked about on game day and stuff, they highlighted Utah's offensive line like Josh did, but the people who were on showcase, in my opinion, was Texas Tech D-line. Through the transfer portal, they recruited so many high-touted defensive linemen, and it paid off. I mean, they shut down the run. They made Utah one-dimensional. They made Devin Dampier throw the ball, and he turned it over twice, like Houston said. I mean, their schedule, their hardest opponent, I think, might be BYU. Like, I easily see them possibly going 12-0 into the Big 12 championship. Like, they might have one of the easiest roads right now to the college football playoff. So.
I agree. I think that we could potentially see a rematch between Utah and Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game. And now I want to pose this. Let's say both teams win out. They meet again. Does the Big 12 get 2 teams in to the playoff? If Utah beats Texas Tech, then
Utah's 11-1 in that scenario.
Utah's 12-1 with the conference championship, and they get the automatic bid. With Texas Tech get an at-large bid, being 12-1 as well, losing in the conference championship game.
Easily. How do you leave Texas Tech out? If they go 12-0 and they lose one game in the conference championship to a Utah team that people have hyped up all offseason, I think it would be kind of asinine for them to leave them out, in my opinion.
I agree with you. I guarantee you, though, there would be controversy.
Oh, there'd be a lot of SEC and Big 12 donors saying, oh, the competition, the competition.
Exactly.
That is true, but come on.
That's absolutely right. But I think, a big thing for me is Texas Tech answered a lot of questions against Utah. We knew what their offense could do, but now we know there's a defensive presence too. And I think that that's going to be big when it comes to playoff resume at the end of all this thing.
We had a quarterback injury with Baron Morton going down. Will Hammond stepped in. I was a big fan of Will Hammond as a high school recruit out of Hutto. He was a high four-star guy. He played really good at the Elite 11 camp his senior year. He gets to Texas Tech. He plays a little bit in the bowl game last year. Baron Morton battled some injuries. He filled in. I wonder if there's a quarterback controversy going on, because I think people in that building like Will Hammond more. It's just Baron Morton's the senior. Baron Morton's been there longer. They trust Baron Morton. If Baron Morton's not 100% and Will Hammond keeps playing like this, do you see a quarterback controversy arising out of this?
I think it's already happening. I mean, I was researching yesterday. There's already articles all over about whether or not Morton, if he comes back, he's going to be the starter if this backup continues to play so well. So it's already happening. If the numbers keep going up, like I'm about to turn up to that bad money over there, we could see this easily be a change.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. The more Will Hammond plays, if he continues to play like he did against Utah, because Baron Morton had played some great games previously, but not against as tough of a defense as Utah has. And Will Hammond played an incredible game against them, so I agree with what Josh said completely on that.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, let's say they keep Baron Morton out a week or two just for precautionary reasons, just want to keep his health, and Will Hammond balls out. Why would you take him out?
Yeah.
You're the number 1 team in the Big 12. Let's say you're putting up 40, 50 points a game. I mean, why would you take him out? It makes zero sense. I mean, I agree with Josh. The article's already come out, and, he's a great quarterback. He's already showed he beat the hardest test on their schedule already, so why not?
Yeah. This reminds me a lot of 2021 Georgia with Stetson Bennett and JT Daniels. JT Daniels was playing good football until he got hurt. Stetson Bennett came in, and he was throwing for 400 yards a game, and they were blowing everybody out, and they just rocked with Stetson the rest of the way. I could see the same thing happening. Let's move on to a different game. Syracuse takes down Clemson at Clemson. This is a disaster scenario for Clemson, but we talk about winners first. Syracuse, they lose their quarterback to Steve Angeli for the rest of the season. They've lost so many players in the portal. Fran Brown still got his guys up, and they handled Clemson. What did you see out of Syracuse, and what was so impressive in that win?
I think they just played really good football at the end of the day. You know, this is a Syracuse team that wasn't really as high coming into the season. They lost Kyle McCord, obviously, to the NFL draft, and just lost a lot of players that made them so good last season. For Clemson, though, I'm worried.
Yeah.
I'm really worried. Dabo Swinney is going on with these rants the week before the game, not looking good. He's on the hot seat for sure. But the problem with Clemson is they can't even buy him out of the contract. There's no match clause. So even if they buy him out or he goes to go coach another team, they can't adjust or move that money. They would essentially be burning money to keep him not only as the coach, but if he goes somewhere else, you're still going to pay him that clause and that money. So you can't get rid of him now.
Yeah.
Clay Klubnik, who's Clay Klubnik? Who's that guy?
Mr. Geocacher, that's who.
Cade Klubnik has not lived up to the hype that we saw coming into the year. This offense has had peaks and valleys before. They are in a crater right now.
Yeah, I agree. Houston?
I agree with that. Syracuse, you saw last week, Jonte Cook, the receiver out of DeSoto, Texas.
Yep.
Massive game. That young man looks like he's found a home finally after going through Texas and Washington. But to kind of continue to pour it on Clemson, they're 1-3 for the first time since 2009. Matthew, do you remember what you were doing in 2009?
I was 4 years old.
Yeah, that's just to highlight how long ago that was. So Dabo Swinney, again, he's on the hot seat. I unfortunately see him progressing towards a Mike Gundy where he's done all these things for the program and they're trying to keep him for that reason, but he's just not performing the same way that he was, half a decade ago. And, I was kind of looking at their schedule and I think, where do they find 5 more wins to even make a bowl game with their schedule? I thought they're probably going to beat UNC, probably beat Furman. Who else are they going to beat?
Yeah.
Duke, SMU, maybe? But, I don't even know if Clemson makes a bowl game this season.
What's similar between Dabo and Mike Gundy?
Just the way that he's had success in the past, and then it just seems like with the evolution of college football between NIL and then for Dabo, especially the transfer portal, it's almost like the game is passing them by. And I think that's what's stopping them from being successful now.
I think what you said right there, the game passing them by and the refusal to adapt to the modern college landscape. These are two guys that have been outspoken about how they don't want to use the transfer portal. They don't like the transfer portal. They don't like the idea of paying players. Well, you're seeing the results now when you don't want to do that. You have a fall from grace. Trevor Lawrences don't grow on trees.
Right.
Deshaun Watsons don't grow on trees. These kind of players that you want to get, you got to cough up for them. You got to pay. Clemson doesn't want to do it. They don't want to hit the portal, and now you're seeing the results on the field. Matthew, what do you think about the Syracuse game?
I mean, Houston kind of stole my talking points. I was going to compare it to the Mike Gundy thing, but I think it says more about Clemson than it does about Syracuse. I'm pretty low on Syracuse. I had Clemson winning that game, bouncing back in a big way, and winning by 2 possessions. But as I was watching this game, I was like, what is happening? I was honestly dumbfounded. I mean, Dabo Swinney is a great coach. You see all the interviews he does, but like Wyatt said, it's the refusal to adapt. On my notes, it says, Dabo has been left behind. Gundy was left in the dust. I mean, these guys are guys who established these programs, brought them to the top of where they were, and now, since they are kind of refusing to adapt, we're seeing the effects of it.
Yeah. Let's move on. Indiana got Illinois at home. This was a game that I thought Illinois could cover the spread. It was a 6.5-point spread. I was like, man, that thing's kind of wide. I bet that Illinois can find a way to cover and keep this thing under a touchdown. They only scored 1 touchdown all game. Indiana put up 9 of them. 63-10, Indiana blows out the Fighting Illini. This was a top 10 ranked Illinois team. What happened?
I think really what happened is that this Indiana offense was kind of faded a little bit. They hadn't played really anybody, but it was the adjustments that they made every single game that made this really good. And I mean, Kurt Cignetti, foot on the gas doesn't even really put it how he had this offense going. Fernando Mendoza may have played himself into the Heisman. I mean, he's probably a first-round pick if he continues to play like this. At the end of the day, they went out and got their guy Mendoza in the offseason like they got Curtis Rourke last season. This Indiana team is scary, and they're good. So,
yeah, I remember in the offseason, I was reading around on some different message boards, and I was on the Indiana one, and their insiders were like, hey, we just got Fernando Mendoza from Cal. This guy, we're getting from real NFL scout buzz. They project him as a first-round guy. He's got the frame, he's got the stature, he's got the arm. They just need to see the on-field results against quality competition. We've seen it so far this year, and there's a real world where Fernando Mendoza puts himself into being a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. I would have never predicted that a year ago.
Kind of building on what Josh said, you really see Indiana is building something on that sideline with Coach Signetti. The way that you can tell the way he coaches his guys, he's not focused on success, he's focused on the standard. Okay, they're up big against Illinois, and he's still getting in those players real. You know what I mean? They're just, if they make a mental mistake, he's doing that. Fernando Mendoza, incredible game. You know, what was it, like 21 and 23, and he had 5 passing touchdowns. The run game was phenomenal, just incredible yards per carry on the ground. And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that Indiana goes 11-1 this year.
Yeah, Matthew, what do you think about Indiana and Illinois?
I totally agree with Houston. I like what he said. I don't believe their floor, in my opinion, is 10-2.
Right.
I mean, when you look at that schedule, the Big Ten, the way they're seeded is kind of weak. They play Oregon and Penn State at Oregon and at Penn State. And in my opinion, I honestly see them right now, the way both those teams have played. I see Indiana walking into Beaver Stadium and walking out with a W. I mean, Penn State's good. They got a lot of spring talk. Oh, Drew Aller, he's going to be this NFL quarterback. I haven't seen much from him. They've won all their games. They've done what they need to do, but I haven't been like, wow, Penn State looks like a contender. And you were talking about Illinois earlier in the year. Their win total was about 8.5, even though they were ranked so high. I'm not very high on Illinois, but beating that team by 53 points is no mere feat. So I'm very high on Indiana. I can see them easily going 11-2. I think 11-1. 10-2 is their floor in my opinion. And I honestly, if they go 12-0, I wouldn't totally be shocked.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Quickly, let's touch on the John Mateer injury. This was news that came out of nowhere after the Auburn game. John Mateer hits his hand on a helmet of a defender, breaks some bones in the hand. There's varying reports of how long he's going to be out. Some say a month, some say 6 to 8 weeks. Either way, this is going to be a big loss for Oklahoma, especially if they don't get him back for that Texas game.
Absolutely, no, I agree. When you take out John Mateer's carries in this running game, guys, they're around 120 to 150 in the country rushing.
Yeah.
That is huge. And this is not like last year where you take out Jackson Arnold, you have Michael Hawkins in there, you know, and he's able to play well. They have a tough schedule going forward. Right now, it's not too bad. They got Kent State today. Then they have Texas, which we know is a trap game for anybody going in who is the favorite. And then they get South Carolina and Ole Miss. They think Mateer will be back for Ole Miss. Not 100% sure. I'm worried because when you take a guy who's been playing at a Heisman level out of an offense, it can kind of shift momentum a little bit. And I just don't know if this defense is good enough to carry this team long term, especially with we don't know how long it is.
Yeah.
It's weeks, it can be a month, it could be longer if he has a setback.
Yeah, I'm going to have to stop us there. We're going to pitch it over to our next block. We're going to throw it up to commercial. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about UNT versus South Alabama, the game that's happening right behind us, and give you some predictions.